Hi everybody and welcome to Rocco Baby Crochet. I hope you're all well and having a lovely weekend. A massive warm welcome back to any of my regular viewers and subscribers. It's lovely to have you here and thank you for supporting the channel. A massive warm welcome to anybody who's just found the channel for the first time. I hope you enjoy this tutorial, stick around and consider subscribing, which will mean that you won't miss out on my next tutorial or free pattern, and it will also support Rocco Baby Crochet as well. In this tutorial I wanted to show you the method that I use to create my magic ring. It's also known as a magic circle, and the reason why I love the magic ring so much is that it allows you to crochet in the round without having a hole in the centre of your work. So it's perfect when you're doing your amigurumi projects because you're not going to have any of that stuffing popping through the centre hole if you do the chain 4 method or chain 3 method and then crochet around that. So my two samples that I've done here, this one is using a chain 4 method, slip stitching to join, and then working 8 UK double crochets around that chain 4. I will sometimes use this method to start a project if I want that hole in the centre there. So there are certain times where I will use this. To be honest, not very often, but I will use it occasionally. So my preferred method is by using the magic ring, and as you can see, it completely closes that hole. And when I am working on amigurumi projects, it just means that all the stuffing is going to stay inside of the toys or projects that I'm making, and it gives it a much neater, much more professional finish. I think it is important to note that there are hundreds and hundreds of tutorials on how to make a magic ring. The reason I'm doing this video is I've been asked several times by members in the Facebook group. I've had messages privately asking if I could do a video just concentrating on this technique, so that's why I'm doing it. If you feel you can't click with the method of magic ring that I do, have a look at the other videos because they're all slightly different techniques and you might find somebody else's technique suits you better than the way I do it. This is just the way I was taught to do a magic ring. Because of that reason, it's the way that I find the easiest and most natural to do. So let's grab our hooks, grab our yarn and a cuppa and learn this technique together. So to begin making your magic ring, you want to take your yarn and lay it across the back of your fingers, just like that. Then I take my thumb and I'll place my thumb holding that loose end there and just securing it, and then I'll wrap it around the front of my fingers underneath, back over, and it makes the letter X on the back of my fingers. Then I pull this yarn straight back down. So when I turn my fingers over, you can see that I've got 2 parallel strands of yarn there on my fingers. I pop this working yarn here underneath and I just secure all those strands of yarn there with my thumb, and then I turn my hand back over. What you want to do next is you grab your crochet hook and pop it underneath the first strand of yarn here, and you're going to grab onto the second strand of yarn and pull it underneath the first strand of yarn. You're then going to twist your hook upwards and you're going to grab back onto that second strand of yarn and pull it through the loop that's on your hook. And that's how easy the magic ring is to make. So once you've done that, I turn my magic ring around so that my loose end is always on the left of me because I am right-handed, and then I will pull on that ring so you can see it's completely adjustable just until it's at a size that's manageable for me to work around. So I usually pull it to about that size. I find that comfortable to work in. And what is important is I do like to leave a nice long loose end, because when I secure my magic circle, I like to secure it really well, because if I fail to do that and I leave this short and I can't weave it in enough times, then you run the risk of your project undoing, and nobody wants to have to redo the project from the beginning. So I always make sure that I've got a long enough loose end to secure it into my work when I've finished. So once I've done that, depending on what stitch I'm doing, but I'm just going to do a double crochet today to show you, I'm just going to chain 1 to get me up to the height of the double crochet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet into the magic ring, but also around this loose end. So it's important to crochet around this loose end, because when we come back to the end of this first round here, we're going to pull on it to cinch this circle together. And if we haven't crocheted around it, we're going to run into difficulties pulling it together. I pop the ring and also the loose end in between my thumb and middle finger on my left hand, and then I hold my yarn there with my pointer finger. I'll insert my hook into that ring, and underneath that loose end, pull up a loop, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both of those loops. And then I'm just going to place another 7 double crochet doing exactly the same. So there's 2. So I'm keeping hold of the magic ring and the loose end, inserting my hook underneath both of them, yarning over and pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through both of those loops. So again, inserting my hook into the magic ring underneath the loose end to crochet around it, and placing another double crochet, pivot my work around a little bit, and you may notice that the hole that is forming in the magic ring is getting larger as you're adding more stitches. Don't be concerned about that at all, because we're going to pull this tighter when we join this round. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. I've just got 2 more to finish my first round. So there's 3 and there's 4. So all 8 of those stitches are going around the magic ring and the loose end. So to join my circle, I'm going to slip stitch to the top of my first stitch. So this here is my chain 1 that I used to get up to the correct height, but I don't want to slip stitch into that. I want to slip stitch into this first official stitch here. So I'm going to insert my hook underneath both of the strands of yarn that make up the top of the stitch and that V shape that we're used to seeing. And I'm just going to yarn over and pull through again, which is a slip stitch to join. Once I've done my slip stitch to join it, what I do then is I just hold the piece of work on top of these 2 fingers with the loose end hanging between the 2, and I gently pull on that, and it will bring and draw the center of that circle together. And that's the technique that I find the easiest to form a magic ring. So if you do have any questions about this quick tutorial, please drop me a comment in the box below. I will try my best to answer your questions. But like I said, this isn't the only way to make a magic ring or a magic circle. If you don't feel comfortable with this method that I use, have a look around. Don't be deterred, don't be put off. There are so many different ways, and one way will definitely be out there to suit you. So I hope you've all enjoyed this really quick tutorial. I hope it's answered a couple of questions about the technique of a magic ring. Have a little practice of it until you're comfortable, and have a great weekend and happy hooking. See you real soon. Bye!